drifted alarmingly in the betting was, offensive in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and a huge warm welcome to the Barstewards Inquiry Sunday Sermon. An incredibly busy show we've got tonight. We've got all sorts, Barstewards Exclusives, gossip, we've got drug taking, we've got all sorts, not us, but trainers. And joining me on my usual counterparts in going through all this to make this show as entertaining as we can, it's John Lang and Lorne Malver. Good evening, chaps. Good evening, John and Chris.
Good evening.
Yes, it's a busy show, so we've no time to fuck around, really. We'll go through this week's classic clues and review the weekend's big action with Baid and the French Guineas today. But we're going to start off with the York Dante meeting, one of our favourite meetings, myself and John. And we did manage to attend this week. One of the days we managed. We'll come on to that in a little short while. Quite some entertaining stuff to tell you. But we'll go through the main sort of action that took place there. Can I say this? On the Knaves Mire. Graham Cunningham says that. They all say that, don't they? All the cliche. Peter Norton, they all say that. Oh, get him on the Knaves Mire. And we'll go to the Musidora, which was the first sort of like classic trial. And obviously, Emily Upjohn produced a rather big performance, I felt. She never relaxed, really, in the early part of the race, but still had absolutely oodles to spare over what she beat, which, might not have been an awful lot. The time was okay. Probably was more than okay. It was a decent effort. And obviously, Emily Upjohn propelled herself right into, I believe, looking at the prices now, a strong Oaks favourite at wrist, 5-4. John, what was your thoughts on Emily Upjohn in the paddock and prospects for the Oaks?
Well, I think it was a brilliant paddock, as I mentioned to you. I thought she was all right, physically, there's nothing you could crab her for. She just doesn't really fill me eye, In the race itself, she couldn't have done any more than win like she did after pulling early. She, as you say, she never relaxed. And to come away from what are probably decent enough fillies like that, You probably wouldn't have any question over her stamina unless she pulled hard off a faster pace at Epsom, which I suppose could happen. I don't know whether I'd be comfortable taking 5-4. I think, unlike Quentin, we've missed the boat not taking the 4s before the trial. I thought the Oaks was right for a shock this year. It looks like it probably isn't. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin was bang on with that on the pod. He said you may as well just have a good bet for the Oaks, and he's the one sat pretty with the 4-1 voucher, whilst me and John are watching the world go by and doing nothing. So Emily Upjohn, a best price 5-4 for the Oaks. We'll just fast forward a little bit, John, before we come on to the Dante and the rest of the York week, to another filly that ran on Saturday and was very impressive again. Under the Holly Marquand Nashwa of Towsers. What we saying about Nashwa?
She's pretty solid as well, really. I mean, you'd say the form might be a little behind the Musidora, but there probably wouldn't be a lot in it, really. Again, she's done it really well, hasn't she? Inexperienced. Still, it's not a bad sort. The Muckadam run quite well, hasn't it? They're going to want to go Oaks, surely, aren't they? Yeah.
Do you know one thing that shocked me with Nashwa? And I don't mind getting it wrong, except when I'm doing my brains in. But what surprised me, if you look at the family, the mother was a complete mudlark. The siblings are all absolute juice monkeys. And yet this filly, which took me aback at Haydock on quick ground last time when she went from last to first, also quick ground at Newbury, despite there were a lot of protestations about Newbury on Saturday saying that, he's watered, but the times have held up really towards standard. So you'd say that, it's probably a tick in the Clark's box on this occasion in terms of times. And Nashua, again, I wanted to see her on soft ground because that's what all the family and siblings, Princess Lulu, absolutely needed it. Having said that, yeah, that's it. Epsom do put plenty on. That is something to bear in mind. Don't forget it's Sandown's Clark who likes to mess and meddle. I do think come Oaks Day, there'll be a few that's saying, well, we want quick ground, but at the last Epsom meeting, he didn't leave it rattling quick. And it's remember the farce last year when everyone was moaning, saying...
You won't want to water the night before the derby, so he'll water at the slow side of good air at best.
Yeah.
And he'll have it like that by Wednesday, I would have thought, and then it's in the lap of the gods. If it rains, your mudlark pedigree might just come to the fore.
I'm more of a Nashua fan at 10-1 than I am Emily Upjohn at 5-4 for the Oaks.
I couldn't be any different.
I don't think there's a lot in them. Despite Emily Upjohn's impressive last two starts, which are winning by sort of big margins. Again, I put some context in that I'm not so sure about the Museora field, if I'm honest. Very difficult to gauge a rating, and Nashua in a way similar comments apply, but I think they've both been just as impressive. So when we're talking 5-4 and 10s, I'm glad we get agreement there between the three of us. So that's the Barstewards way forward. Nash was probably a bit of value at 10-1. She was impressive. Okay, we'll move on to the rest of York that on the first day. Duke of York, they were strung out like line of washing, John.
Very strange, wasn't it? Because, you wouldn't have thought there was that much wrong with the ground, and yet they're strung out like 2-mile chesses. Dragon Symbols, Christ knows what, about 18 there.
It was a remarkably bad run. It to be honest, that could have been a wind issue. The way that stopped, I'm probably guessing at wind. That just went out as if. But then again, you say that there was Garrus, for example. I know you don't like Garrus, but
Garrus.
He's 110. Minzal was 6 clear of Garrus. Well, Spycatcher was another length in front of that. So Spycatcher's not 7 lengths better than Garrus, is it?
No.
Absolutely not. I feel Princess is a 9 3/4 lengths better than a fit Garrus. It's just not. It's not possible. Having said that, the vet said that Garrus bled from the nose. So maybe it could be just a thing of that Duke of York. Why they were strung out like they were was possibly down to the bizarre factor of nothing's run their race.
Half of the thing looked like they've had cholera.
Yeah, it does happen. From time to time, it does happen, and that could have been the reason there. But we'll come on to a couple of questions regarding York and the track, because it's something me and you've always touched on, John. Regarding York, and we scratch our heads on this. Nick Palfrey's been on. He said the York surface is kip, but the rest of the race course is elite. Is there a reverse example, a track that is a top class turf, but the rest of the course is pure gaff? We'll come on to that in a second, Nick. Just get the other points in. James Devlin makes the point about the Duke of York, i.e. the Highfield Princess, strung out like Chase, etc. He says, do they go too hard too soon, or is it something in the surface? VPOC answered that question and said he's wondered the same. And he said that basically the surface is essentially reclaimed marshland, quite unique, especially, and he thinks it gets worse when the ground is on the soft side of good. And that's something, John, that you've said before. When York gets soft, we get some strange results, do we not?
We do, and you can get some strange results on watered good. I remember the year that Terryman won the Juddmonte International. I think it was called the Juddmonte then, way back when. And there were some astonishing results, really. And most of the stable staff that week that were taking horses out on the morning for a blow down the back straight and that was saying what beautiful ground it was. It felt smashing. And nothing could make any ground up all week. There was some horrendous results. I think Dillon got stuffed in the crack.
I remember that, yeah.
Henry Cecil had a couple, and when the voltage got stuffed. It was ridiculous, There were some lads I knew from they'd come from Chester for the 3 days they went shopping on the last day. They said they were going to spend less. So, I mean, it really sorted the men from the boys added about far larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were nonplussed, really. Julian Wilson had a winner. Fucking hell. Horrific week all round,
No one can have stole his price then, John.
No, well, nobody stole the fast strip of ground up the rail on the far side anyway, because that's where Pontanillo went, and he wasn't for catching after they turned in. Like Terryman. It's a very, very strange place sometimes, and I think you could turn yourselves inside out trying to work it out. I've just sort of come to the conclusion, I bet as though it's like any other track. If the track does me, it does me, because you can't second guess it.
Just covering off that first day then as well, going back to the races. Garcia won the Open of the Jorvik Handicap. What's interesting about that this week, that I was quite impressed with that win. I think there's more up its sleeve, and I do think that's his Ebor horse. Like you said, John, the trainers are very, very much creatures of habit. Yeah. Same route as Illarab, really. It puts it in the Hardwick, and then and it probably run in the Hardwick, and then they'll work out where they probably. Obviously, it wouldn't probably run in the Ebor if it wins 6 in Hardwick, but anyway. But yeah, that's a sort of plan for that. And interestingly, the sibling ran at Thirsk on Saturday, a horse called Mandobe. That's its half brother. That's by Ifraj. It's the same mum, Ujuba, obviously. This horse looks to be getting physically better, mentally better, and I genuinely think this is his Melrose horse for York. I think, when Haggis goes north, he sent it to Ripon, 10 furlongs at Ripon, no good, 10 furlongs. Then up to 12 furlongs at Thirst, beats trees. Haggis doesn't want too much weight. That's what he's saying. He doesn't want to turn up at the moment in a Newmarket handicap or a Newmarket maiden, end up with 87. Straight away. He wants to build the horse's experience, probably end up with 85 and go from there, and then work out what he needs to be competitive or win the Melrose. Would you say that's... Did you take a look at Mandobe on Saturday, John, in the maiden?
Yeah, he's a good sort. He's the type that you could see progressing throughout the season, so I wouldn't argue with any of that.
Yeah, a decent week for the shirt, obviously, and we'll come on to that, but we'll go on to the Dante. Dante Day, Thursday, and an interesting day. Again, a day I sort of half struggled, half didn't. Cruyff turn did me a favour in the Hambleton.
As he always does.
Yeah, thick turn and thick Dave and Cruyff turn are my two favourite people at the moment. Lovely. Twice there over the course and distance at nice prices. But we'll come to the Dante, and it's fair to say this was a blistering performance from Desert Crown, I felt.
I couldn't argue with that either. I was very impressed with the horse because he did look as though he'd taken up for the run. You couldn't crab the way he travelled. I did notice watching it back. There's something in his action when he quickens and changes legs. And he did the same thing at Nottingham on debut. And it's like he sort of half props. And it's unusual. It's a bit standouty when he does it. It's only for the one stride. But it's as though he's not quite sure what he's doing yet. And if that's the case, he's probably got a bit more improvement in him than maybe we think,
It's some performance to do it second start. It really is. Obviously, to win a Nottingham maiden, get put away, and then come out and do. And I think Stout was quite, emotionally, he's quite choked up about it. And obviously, we know, obviously, with the Barons had personal issues. We obviously losing his wife, and obviously he's had a lean time with sort of owning some serious tackle. And obviously the blow of sort of Shadwell saying no to him, blah de blah. And now I think all that may be just a built up there. Did you see the interview with Lids, John, on Racing TV?
Yes, and like you say, he did seem as though it was a big thing for him. This, you can understand it because plenty of people, myself included, have been pretty much writing him off, rightly, because you look at performances over the last couple of years and you'd be wondering where the next big winner was coming from, to be honest. You'd hesitate to say this is probably the last throw of the dice, but, I think there was quite a lot on the line for the old lad, and it's good to say, because I think racing needs trainers like that performing at the top of the game, because over the last few years, it was a yard you could rely on for horses to have the graph going in the right direction all the time, and there's not many yards where you can count on that. And speaking as a punter, so yeah, I was pleased it won for him, really, especially because if he hadn't, we know would have won it.
Yes, the kilt. That'll find its way into a 0-105 before end of the season. Probably Newmarket back. Might be November handicap.
The thing was, as well, I thought that ran really well.
He did.
Joking
aside, yeah.
I give him 110 for that.
Yeah.
And that's as good as I've had him, actually. I think Bluegrass showed improvement as well, as did Dark Moon Rising in fourth. Slight improvement. So I think it was a good Dante, and I think the winner goes to Epsom with a live chance.
I think not just a live chance. I think a huge chance. As everyone knows, I love a shorty, and when the initial prices came in, 3-1 Desert Crown was laid straight after the race to about £8 across the boards, and ended up and ended up sort of a general 2-1 chance, 9-4 in a place at the moment. But I know the different types of horses. I'm not comparing the two. But obviously they won the same race. That's all I'm comparing. The authorised gave me the same gut feel that was the Derby winner after that Dante.
Your problem at Epsom is going to be the O'Brien peloton.
Yeah.
As it is for any fucker that goes to Epsom now with one live candidate. Because if he runs 6, you can have the 2 tear asses, the 2 in the middle, and the 2 sweepers.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you the one that chases the tear asses? Are you the one that sits in the middle and still risk getting picked up by the sweepers? What do you do? A lot of pressure on young Kingscote.
There is, but I genuinely feel that as long as he doesn't get a coffin box draw, say on the inside in one, and he gets a sort of nice middle draw where Kingscote can go left or right, when they start off an edge to the right, and then Kingscote can hopefully get his position that he wants. But I agree with you, it's a lot of pressure for the lad. But I'd make him, if he got a decent draw on the day, I'd make him an 11 or 8 chance, I think, to win it. I think it's a similar sort of chance to authorised. You just need the breaks. He definitely beats Stone Age for me. So and the rest of them. So yeah. So I was very pleased, like you, John, to see the Baron back in the big time with potentially a superstar this year. Hopefully for him, Desert Crown. Nothing else much at York that day really regarding anything worth talking about. So we'll move on to the weekend action. And obviously the talking horse that everyone comparisons I've seen to Frankel, stuff like this, nowhere near there yet. But it was hard to pick holes in Baid's Lockinge performance, John.
Excellent performance, excellent comeback. Ticked every box, did it nicely. You couldn't knock the horse one jot. For that, he's beat a reasonable yardstick on quick turf, Rail World. I think Chindit's probably run as well as he's ever run. So, yeah, get it in perspective. I've still got him around the 124, 125 mark. He's a way to go to emulate Frankel, hasn't he? But, you can't knock the horse for doing everything right.
No, I'm 127 with a huge plus. I genuinely think he can get there up into the sort of See the Stars Frankel ranges, which you'd have to, to get to See the Stars, you'd probably be looking at improving another £7 or £8. I think he can get there. I think I saw Nick Davis post something on Twitter that sort of like I agreed with, and he said that he'd have to basically slam Caribus with a similar authority for people to say yes, that's early 130s, etc. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, probably.
And that could happen. I mean, obviously, you think? Well, I think the shirt's mentioned where he's going next. He said he wanted to go. Ideally, this wasn't set in stone, but Queen Anne, followed by the Sussex, followed by the Juddmonte. That was the sort of plan muted.
Yeah, I mean, you see the sense in that, really. Come now, you know where he's going now, so.
I mean that's a mouth-watering prospect there, where obviously it looks like Baid would probably meet Caribus in the Sussex. You would think, if not Caribus for whatever reason,
Native Trail or that French Guineas winner today.
It could be one of Appleby's monsters that he's got this season. But yeah, I mean, Baid, it was a thrilling performance, and I was possibly surprised to see at the price it was. To be honest, I genuinely wouldn't have been surprised to have seen that return fours on. I know it sounds after the time, but
you said on Friday night you thought 2 was a good price.
I did, yeah. I'd much rather be a backer than a layer, and I did back it on Betfair near the off. But he's one of those. He's one of them. If you don't have a bet on the race, if that goes off 1.27 or something, you're not surprised. You're not going, oh well, that doesn't deserve to be that. So I thought it was quite generous, especially what Jim had said. Jim Crowley had said, and whether it's lying Jim or not, but he'd said the horse had done some incredible work prior. So yeah, the horse obviously kicked on and improved again, and why wouldn't he? He didn't begin his career until 3, and there could be a lot more to come up in trip as well over a mile and a quarter. I don't think he needs it yet, John. Would you say that? Would you agree with that?
He's not crying out for it, is he? Not by any stretch.
No.
It's just quite exciting to look at that pedigree and say what it can go with a mile now.
Yeah.
I mean, anything out of a King Mambo mare, say the Stars as I say, you'd think mile and a half even, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, it's a brother to Hookham, isn't it? Hookham. Yeah. So, I love your quips on Hookham last year. It's either fuck 'em, let's back Hookham, or anyway, just to finish Saturday off, because there was nothing else that floated my boat really on that Saturday. It was the Jamie Spencer show at Doncaster on Saturday night. Lo and behold, John,
Spenny rides the treble. Simcock has a winner.
Well,
can we be a coincidence for these lads?
We've stated on this show many a time. People have asked us and said, "Oh, I've been Simcocked," and it's round Chelmsford or Chester or it's like you just know what they're going to do. So what's the point? Sit and watch the Kilt 6 clear turning in. We Spencer getting traffic problems at Chester, or do you want a nice galloping expanse where you can just sit nicely with your arse in the air? At the back of the field, just try taking your time. When are we going to make our move? And
I think we agreed last week, didn't we? Actually, Simcock is probably the man, really, because his percentage, if he was having these ridden properly, it'd probably be about 28%.
Absolutely. This is a Barstewards statement from me and John. When we always say, well, you've been Simcock, the man's 18%, holding everything out the back of the telly. An incredible trainer. This lad would be 30% if he rode his races properly. But being one-dimensional has its flaws, and this is what we say. At Yarmouth, Doncaster, big, long, straight tracks like Newbury, where they can hold them up as long as they want, they have great strike rates. But do you want to back them round Wolverhampton and gas pits like that last while everyone's riding the finish? They're just sat there like plums. But that's it. So Simcock, it's official. It's a Barstewards statement. Simcock is the best trainer in the UK today, because to have that strike rate held and everything up is immense. In fact, John, we looked at it, didn't we? Simcock has held up 75% of his runners. 75%. I think the kilt is the other way around. Kilt's made the running with about 70% or 60% and held up 20 odd, just held up just 20% of his runners since starting training. So that just tells you all you need to know. That just tells you everything. Anyway, we'll move on to the guineas, not the English guineas, or the Irish guineas, but the French had their turn today to showcase their talents, and I wasn't suitably impressed, John.
No. The French 1000 was abysmal, really, wasn't it? I mean, they all finished in a heap.
Yeah.
Cat shit did a bit for the Nell Gwyn farm once again, which seems to be standing up for him.
Well, yes, with English guineas, second in the French guineas.
Yeah, you can't knock that. The one I did sort of take out of the race was Daisy Maisie that finished 5th.
Right.
I thought that one looked as though she was crying out for another quarter of a mile, and I thought she might be interested in a French Oaks. I know she had a bit of an interrupted preparation for a trial. I was reading the trainer's comments, and then the way she ran today, I thought another couple of furlongs would do her the world of good, because she didn't look quick enough for this, but she was keeping on nicely. Another stride she'd have been 4th, and I'd say another furlong she'd have beat that lot.
No, interesting. Button Bassett, Champs-Élysées mare. So interesting note, John, there that you think the horse they're trained by who is it? Barbara. Don't know French trainers very well. Ridden by Gregory Benoit. Sounds like a
I don't know the trainer. Charles Aznavour or something like that.
Anyway,
Marcel Marceau.
Yeah.
Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah.
He's the best Frenchman. 255 then. That was the Poule de Side de Poulain. The French guineas won by the Appleby machine. Just keeps chuntering on with these fast types. They just keep winning everything. Modern Games. Fatty Will Buick put a pound overweight, John.
Yeah, I don't think it made a lot of difference, to be honest. He seemed to win it fairly snug, I thought. He was well on top at the finish. Mystifyingly bad performance from Claymore, I thought. Well, not mystifying when you saw Kirby riding the lugs off it for the first 100 yards, and then the horse went cane. But I keep looking at that horse, and I think out of a High Chaparral mare, I think this is all wrong myself. Who we might argue with Mrs. Chapel High, who was a very, very good trainer under normal circumstances, but I'd be thinking round the quarter mile and a half for this lad.
Yeah, I've gone off, Jay.
I don't know what they were thinking with this today.
No, I mean modern games. I think it was a fairly smart performance. I don't think it's in the league of the other two that they've got, Caribus and Native Trail. But I do think that he's useful in his own right. I'd be interested to see what pass they take. I think it was muted after the race that they were going to try the French Derby with him.
Yeah, the new approach may probably get the trip all right. You wouldn't think they've got anything else for it, would you? So.
No. So maybe that's the angle there with that. So nothing to gain from the trials, I think, from us going forward for this year anyway, in terms of bets or punts. So that more or less covers off our review. Before we go on to the fun part of the show, which is getting down and dirty with all the dirty things in the sport, we'll just finish off with a Jimmy Lindley. John, to cover the racing off, have you got a Jimmy Lindley for me this week?
I have. This one ran yesterday at Naran, believe it or not. It ran in the mile and a quarter maiden behind Vega Magnifico. And this one is Sarah Quayle. The owners have horses with Murta, I believe. This one's with R.P. Cody, who I must admit, hadn't really come to my attention much before this. But this put up a very, very interesting performance, I thought. I spotted this in running. It was nice way out the back. It missed the kick completely. Eye-catching headway just after the turn in. The jockey sat there like he was having a shit and wasn't moving a muscle. And like, with it being relatively unfancied, I was sort of thinking, what the fucking hell is this coming up? He's going to bait the lot of them. And then inexperience kicked in. Hung left, ran very green, was sprawling all over the place. Ended up finishing 6th, I think. And I think there's oodles of improvement to come with this. So the King's Best mare should probably stick to this trip, I would have thought. Got a lot of ability here, I think. And what would be quite interesting, maybe when we say a bit of money for it, I don't know what the plan is, obviously, whether they're going to get it handicapped or what, but I mean, I thought it was worth a good 76-ish now.
Good stuff. So Saraqael, spelled Saraqael, ridden yesterday on the Saturday by Gypsy Lee and trained by RP Cody. Ran on late into 6th. You may want to watch that and put that in your trackers. That's John's interesting Jimmy Lindley horse. Mine ran at Roscommon. This is not sort of lovely hands, sort of not off pick. It's more of a horse I think is ready and will be winning possibly a very good race going forwards. This ran at Roscommon on the Monday night. It ran in the 5:30 race. Quite a very warm handicap, this one, full of sort of types that either weren't off or whatever. But Elzarm Blue, Chris Hayes was on board. This is a horse that did me a favour at Dundalk when I actually had a real good bet on it. Second start this year when it beat Adapt Dan. And I think it's a really, really smart horse. However, the wide draw dropped in, soft, heavy ground would not have suited Elzarm Blue on Monday night. By Elzarm out of a Dan Silly mare. I don't really see. That's why they started off on the all weather and it showed good form. Soft, heavy is not this horse's cup of tea. And to be fair, when they entered Elzarm Blue, it wasn't soft, heavy. It was like good ground, but they had lots of rain at Roscommon. So the ground just went totally against it. I see they've entered it in the Curra William Hill Emerald Mile handicap on Friday, a big handicap. I don't think it'll get in that. It's probably punching above its weight anyway for this moment in time. It's only rated 82. But this is a horse that will win one of these nice Saturday handicaps or weekend handicaps in Ireland, 40 grand races, one of them. This is a really good horse with a really good turn of foot. And I promise you, this will be winning. It'll be rated a lot higher than 82. Let's hope the handicapper drops it after Roscommon. But yeah, I do think this will be like mid 90s, etc. It's a real smart horse. It's gonna make it up into a nice type late this year. So Elzarm Blue for me. Right, that finishes the horse shit off for this week, and we go on to our juicy talking points. So if this is the part of the show that you like, where we just slag everybody off, here we go. Right. We've got something to tell you, haven't we, John? We had a great day out, didn't we, on Thursday? we did the. I keep saying Thursday. This is I get my days mixed. It was a Wednesday, weren't it? It was Musidora. Yeah, I'll get it right. I mean, God, me and my days. They're all the same. The 7 of them. Doesn't matter, does it? It just doesn't matter. Anyway, it was Musidora Day, and me, John, Councillor Woodman, and the producer decided to take a day out and go to the York Wayne Room restaurant, the brand new restaurant there. Superb value for money in my mind. I think it was £215 a head. You got a 3-course, beautiful meal, beautiful food, brilliant facilities right overlooking the course and the paddock and the pre-parade. And it's absolutely brilliant. I thought it was top value for money because of the quality on offer. That some people will be sat at home saying 200 quid, but really it was very, very good value. Down south, that's double that at least.
Oh, you wouldn't get a boneless bucket for that round here. Now, 200 quid.
And I mean, the day was one of those to remember. I think we had so much fun. Councillor Woodman picked us up in good form. Was Councillor Woodman even more?
What we didn't realise was he was as pissed as a cricket.
Thing is, I couldn't believe he turned up. He was that frightened of you, John. This is a Conservative councillor. He turns up in a red tie. What Conservative councillor ever does that?
He was camouflaging, so he was trying to blend in, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was frightened. I think he was nervous with you, John. He's seen your rants on Twitter and he's thought, I
don't know where we were sat. It was Tory Central there, thought they. It should have been me wearing the camouflage.
You could smell the money, couldn't you, John? It wasn't from us, but you could smell the money in there. It was dripping.
You could taste it, never mind smell it.
Yeah, in the air. It was all in the air, all in the. Even the producer noted that a certain David Easterby said, "Have you got a wine cellar?" She overheard that in conversation. I mean,
John's got a cellar, hasn't he? We don't keep wine.
Well, we know Mick's got a pantry, hasn't he, where he does all his onion pickling and stuff like that.
Oh,
well,
yeah. Does, doesn't he?
we'll come on to this in a bit because the story gets pretty good actually. But anyway, so Councillor Woodman takes us to the track, and obviously he was being expertly guided by me and the producer, and he was all over the place. And then we get into the car park, and he got immensely confused. The car park attendant told him to turn left, and that was the direction of the hospitality parking and the owners. He decided to drive straight on for some unbeknown bizarre reason. He's zigzagging about. The car park attendant was on his walkie-talkie thinking, who are these idiots? He was all over the place. He said, you better turn around. You better turn around and go back. So he turns around. He's making a bollocks of that. Tries to turn around in a real tight space to get on the right.
The lollipop, didn't he?
Yeah. Getting the right track. He was moaning at that point as well. He was saying things like, "This is just terrible setup." He's saying, and we're all looking at each other perplexed. And then so he finds the right trail into get parked, and there's this woman obviously dressed correctly in an orange jacket, like stewards do, orange jacket, nice fluorescent, easily seen, and she's waving us towards this car parking space rather invitingly. Only Councillor Woodman chooses not to see that, and he drives like way past, and like we're all saying, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, they don't make it easy for you, do they?" He says, and me and John look at each other and we say, this is in a fluorescent orange jacket. Heathrow Airport will be taking this woman next week with ping pong bats guiding 747s into park. I mean, such was it obvious that this, and all the car parking staff will have been telling each other that he's drunk. You could tell it on the face as if to say that the councillor's drunk. So that was the start, and that got us going. And John, I'll let you fill us in what happened later in the day with the Easterbys.
Well, at the end of the day, they brought the cakes out and the sandwiches for the afternoon tea and everything. They were quite amenable. They left them out for a good 40 minutes to an hour, didn't they, before they started wanting to clear up. I mean, that's the thing. You get your afternoon tea pretty rapidly after your lunch. It's a big plate of sandwiches and cakes and stuff. I mean, we had no chance. We weren't getting through all of that, were we?
No chance.
And Ethan came and took hours away. We'd had enough. Then we realised why everything was getting taken away so quickly, because the Easterby party was getting everything boxed up to take home.
Why were they getting them boxed to take home, John?
Well, a bit skint, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you say that they were boxing them up? I mean, for Mick and Alice. That's all.
I think we must have put an order in or something. Out left there, he was having it. And away it all went. And we never got off at the doggy bag, did we?
No, because we aren't gentry like the Easterbys. I mean, this is it. The Easterbys had all the cakes basically boxed up, ready to go. We Mick shoving it in Alice's mush. Do you think later on that night, John?
Well, I don't know what they do sexually, but you know, I mean.
Thank God for that.
But yeah, it was. I mean, just basically experiencing that was quite funny. I mean, Mick obviously known for his ice cream ventures on course. Obviously, Mick not in the greatest of health. I've heard lately having some time off from the race courses, but he still gets his feed, John.
You don't get where he is today by just letting things slide. You've got to keep your standards up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it was a great day and great value for money. And I've heard a lot of people on Twitter slagging race courses off, but I genuinely believe that York offered great value for that package, what we did that day, which I'm coming to you, Chris, because you've been quiet this year because we've been waffling. Yeah, we're going to start on like racecourse attendances, and there's lots of concerned people around mainly racecourse bookmakers that are reporting that they're around 30% down on takings on average at like Chester, York, etc. And you know things aren't going so well for those chaps. And York as well have reported that their attendance was 29% down on what they usually get for this meeting. 6,750 on the Wednesday. That's all they got. It was down on each day, and York was competitively priced, I felt, to get in. I know people moan about prices and say that's the reason. I don't think it's the reason. I genuinely think there's other things at play. What do you think?
Well, I kind of disagree. I think, I mean, I'm not sure what the entry price for York was, but I think generally speaking, you know, going racing is a very expensive day out. When you consider you got to put, you know, diesel in the car, you've got the entrance fee for however many people in your party. You've got, you know, obviously York aside, you've got usually quite overpriced food and drink. You've got your betting money for the day. You know, it's not a cheap day out. And if you look at obviously the wider economy where people are struggling to, you know, heat their houses, feed their children, clothe themselves, you know, it's a discretionary purchase, isn't it? So I think it's going to be really, really difficult for racecourses to get bodies through the door because, you know, people are cutting back on leisure spending everywhere you look. I mean, if you look at Netflix, people are cancelling the subscriptions to Netflix, Disney, and all these sorts of nice to have type purchases because, you know, they're struggling to put food on the table. So I think racecourses have got to think really creatively to get people back through the door. And, you know, even if they do get them through the door, you know, do people want to bet in significant amounts of money, or do they want to spend their money on food and drink and a nice day out? So I think there's really hard times ahead, you know, unless the economy picks up massively imminently, which is incredibly unlikely. I think, you know, racing's staring down the barrel of a gun. I don't know what John thinks on that because I think you disagree, Lee. But yeah, I think it's hard times ahead.
No, I genuinely do think that there is hard times ahead. I think basically because racecourses have modelled their pricing a lot of the time on past success. Sure. You know, like obviously there was after we got let out last time after lockdown, there's a big boom in racecourse attendances because no one had been allowed to do anything for ages.
Quite.
And some people are quite flush with money because for various reasons they could have been furloughed, working another job, and everything was going swimmingly, so they were spending it. So I think times have changed now where people are probably a lot shorter of money than what they were, and obviously there's a choice to make. And if the weather's not 24 degrees and belting down, and you know, and people think, well, I can't be bothered, I'll wait till the sun's out and go racing. I think that's where we're at with racing, and probably racing needs to wake up on that. John, have you any thoughts on racecourse attendances and why we're that much down? Is it a massive concern, or is it temporary in your view?
I do think it's a massive concern because over the last couple of years, I think I must have highlighted a dozen times on here the reluctance of racing as an entity to market the betting side and be interested in getting people betting. And now I think this is when they're going to fail the squeeze. If they've been promoting betting as they should have been doing when it was, well, it still is, but you know, they don't realise it underpins the sport. You can't keep the racing going on ice cream sales. It's as simple as that.
Kilt thinks you can.
Good for him. He's an idiot, isn't he? And that's the thing, you know. the need to promote betting urgently, and all these affordability checks, and they're doing everything they can to stop people betting. And then you've got bookmakers reporting from York, like Jeff Banks. I think the biggest losing bet he took was a tenner, and he was laying winners to £1,000 and 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
We know that's bollocks, but you get the gist that the ring was pretty dead, really, and it ain't good enough, and getting people there just to cheer for Stradivarius on Yorkshire up there doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut the mustard.
That's absolutely right. The sport is funded on betting income and betting revenue. As you say, no matter how many people come through the door and have pints of beer and ice creams, etc., if they're not actually betting, they're not actually contributing to the long-term survival of the sport. And ITV don't help. As you said, with the Stradivarius story, we're all sitting at home cheering Stradivarius. Well, we're not. It's just another race on which people can have a bet. Okay, if you're a sort of an objective observer, or you haven't had a bet, maybe you would cheer a multi-millionaire owner and a multi-millionaire jockey and a multi-millionaire trainer winning a large pot. But fundamentally, it's a betting product, and they just seem terrified to push it, and that's because the wider climate is anti-gambling. These people are prohibitionists. They don't want to regulate betting. Their agenda is they would be very happy if betting didn't exist, because of their own failures in life, because they couldn't, bet enough winners, or they gambled all their money away. They want gambling banned. And these people are prohibitionists. They are not interested in regulating or managing problem gambling. They want it banned. Those are the kind of people you're dealing with.
And when you look at the wider economics of the thing, I mean, racing is essentially a sport that survives entirely on spare money.
Discretionary.
Even people that buy horses, I mean, if Sheikh Mohammed was struggling to feed his family, he wouldn't be buying countless horses every year. So your middle tier of owners and your low tier of owners, they're going to be the first ones that say, fuck this, there's no return, we're struggling there, interest rates are going up, mortgages, all the rest of it. First thing you cut, isn't it? The unnecessary expenses.
And it's interesting because, even the so-called sort of middle and lower tier of owners, in the grand scheme of things, these individuals who own horses, either, in partnership or by themselves, are still, by any objective measure, wealthy people. These aren't men in the street. These are business owners. These are people with a lot of money behind them. So, when ITV say, isn't it great that the little man is, these aren't little men. These are invariably millionaires who own one or two horses. So those guys are cutting back. Well, those women or those people are cutting back. Racing should be very worried because these people aren't topless.
No, I mean, the weird thing that racing's got at the moment is it's quite hilarious that everyone's pushing for a certain type of customer. Yeah. The bookmakers want lads. The race courses want them to come and drink and spend on drinking products, and they want them to listen to a band afterwards. There is absolutely no promotion anymore about how you can do well from betting, how you can win from betting, how it's possible to make money out of the game and enjoy it at the same time. The sell the dream, as I've pointed out on several shows. But what's more concerning is that they're trying to encourage youngsters into the sport, the BHA, by initiatives and getting tracks to do certain things and get more hands-on with the horses, etc. But they're not. But at the same time, these youngsters are going to be restricted by bookmakers on affordability. Now that is just bonkers. That's like saying, well, come into the sport, but you can only have so much on. You don't think you can make a lot of money at this game because you're only allowed to put this amount on, and it's a very, very weird. So it is ultimately, if that's the way forward, and if that is what's going to happen, it is the death of the sport without a shadow of a doubt.
What sport? You come into the sport, but you can only have this amount on. You can't have a bet. Well, if that's the case, then there is no sport. There is no beer. There's no industry. Because the
industry. And the sad thing is about this, really. I mean, how many people would we all know now who would absolutely benefit no end from having the ability to nick 200 quid a month on Betfair now?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Precisely.
You know,
I mean, they're taking the dream away from everyone. You're not allowed to be a winner.
I'm not saying play full time, try and win £4,000 a month, anything like that. I'm saying try to nick 200 a month.
Yeah.
Just help it out. Pay your lucky bill, something like that. That can be done without too much difficulty, really, can it? We all know that, but. Who would promote that?
Well, it's like the old days, when I was younger, and I used to go racing because I could see them in the paddock, and if sometimes it could unlock a race. If I saw one that was fat as butter and it was third in, and that was my danger, and I was worried about it, I'd march straight down to the ring and have 180 quid in cash on favourite at 6-4 because I felt the third foul was out of the way, and it probably come second fav, but anyway, but that's the gist. That's the edge. That's what makes the world. Money makes the world go round, and we're going into a classist system where stock markets are all right, even though Bitcoin you've done your bollocks on lately, and that's fine. It's fine. You can do fortunes on Bitcoin, but you're not allowed to do £400 or £500 on a horse because it's classist, and I'm just absolutely perplexed at the marketing strategies of the BHA. Everything, it's the factions pulling in different directions. It does feel like racing's absolutely broken. And I mean,
this factions thing. I mean, this is just a cop out from Harrington, because a true leader would get these factions pulled together in no time. This is lacking the will to do it. You knock the trainers into shit. They're all licensed. Racecourses are licensed to race under rules. They don't toe the line. You withdraw the license, they become a flapping track overnight. It's the will to do it and crack heads together, and that's what's required. It's desperate times.
I mean, so Paul Salkel's been on. He says, "Can free admission Monday to Thursday be a viable proposition for racecourses?"
No, we've got to have some gate money.
Yeah, it's only thing is, like, I don't understand finances like with media rights. I know that some meetings are put on in midweek purely on media rights money, and it's I think it's a good screw. If you're putting on low class racing and you're not having to add much to prize money yourselves as a track, I think after the levy, I think it's quite a good screw for them. That's why we're seeing a lot of 8 race cards, because they're getting paid per race and they're low grade, and so there's not much prize money. And the tracks, I think, are doing quite well, and they don't really care if there's any punters coming through the door. There's a lot of different politics going off in races at the moment, where everyone's feathering their own nests, including the big corps, including everyone. And it's sad to see. I really haven't got a solution, and I ain't got an answer to Paul's question, because I don't know. We aren't looking at racing's finances or tracks' finances on certain days. I don't know if having customers is worthwhile for them or not. Do you need to employ more stewards if you've got a certain amount of people in the course, etc.? I don't know. I've absolutely no idea whether that's viable or not. The only way it would be viable if you've got like a French system or a USA system where you've got a casino on track that literally is funding the prize money, the racing, and the punters can get in cheap and get subsidised food and drink because the casino is paying for that. But again, it's the wrong marketing model for the age we live in, because everyone's trying to get them banned. So
yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
So that's why I think race is dead. I don't see a solution until everyone comes together, and that's not going to happen. Which is so frustrating. So we're in a bit of shit. Somebody else in a bit of shit as well. Barstewards Exclusive. I always, if I get this wrong, I could be in deep shit.
What you need to say here is we absolutely categorically announce that there is no truth whatsoever in the rumour that a prominent northern trainer, over to you, Lee.
Yeah, a prominent trainer from Malton, a real prominent trainer. Everyone's imagination. prominent trainer, real heavyweight. Might be literally. I could be referring to his weight, but I don't know. Might not be. Yes, he's been a naughty boy, and he basically goes out with these set of lads boozing and stuff, and he's friends with this scaffolding lad. They used to have a few bevies in the pub and stuff, and well, he decided that he quite liked his missus. And they got texting away, and away they go. And the reason that I found this out is because obviously I've seen the texts, and secondly, the scaffolder, he found out because his missus's phone was getting the old ping, ping, ping away late at night, and he said, "Who's that texting you?" Took her phone off her, and it was the said trainer, the said prominent Malton trainer, blasting away with things like, you enjoy me inside you, and etc. etc. All the gory details, which I'll spare you from. I'll spare you from all the details. But
don't it happen?
Yeah, but you can imagine. And so yeah, he's been a bit of a dirty dog, and he's lying a bit low at the moment because the scaffolder is not happy. These scaffolders are big lads, and so basically, it's,
if you haven't taken the scaffolding up to your bare hands, imagine what you can do when you get them hands around the trainer's throat.
Well, yeah, it's bad business. Bad business, this. So, yeah, that's the Barstewards Exclusive, and I can categorically tell you it's the truth because there's some very upset people in Malton, I can assure you. Right, before we finish, we've just got a few questions, and basically I'd like to discuss the blogger, really, and the effects that blogger has on things, John, because we talked about this. What racing now has become, hasn't it? About it's a bet, isn't it? We have a £20 treble. We go to the races,
yeah,
and then we get absolutely bollocks, shit faced, and then what do we do at the end of the day?
You get a steak.
You
take a photo of your steak, and then you put it on Twitter and you say, "Rate my steak."
All the juices flowing out. Rate my steak, and 4 dripping chips in like a silver holder, and this steak, it might come on a slate, it might come on a whatever
bin lid.
Yeah, bin lid. That's it. Yeah.
And it's rate my steak. And guess what? Sometimes a post will come on Twitter that's paid for that steak, and it'll say, "Look what's paid for my steak. This £20 double." Bang.
Yeah.
Boom.
210 on chances. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's society, isn't it? I mean, I did see a Twitter post. I can't even remember the bloke's name because I've never watched it. But there's another sort of Love Island type wannabe or previous participant that's sort of now promoting or influencing this great sport of ours to his many followers. But my question is, well, what kind of followers are they? Are these the sort of people you want racing? Because if you do, then don't complain when a load of sort of sockless wannabes get pissed up and have a fight. Because that's what you wanted racecourses. That's who you're going to get through the door.
I don't know why we need the blogger to entice those kind of people, because really, if you just told them there was a wagon full of bananas just inside the gates, it'd be quite easy to entice them down from the trees and get them in the racecourse.
Well, I think, yeah, exactly right. But, people shouldn't complain if people are rowdy or have a scrap on a set, because that's what you want, because that's what the marketing's geared towards. That's the sort of people that blogger and others are encouraging through the doors. So don't moan if people are having their afternoons ruined by people throwing punches at each other. You get you reap what you sow.
No, we're over time this week, but I'm carrying on because it's a good show, because there's lots of stuff to get through, and it just is one of those things that sometimes we like to keep it under an hour, but you can always fast forward the shit and stuff like that and get to where you want. But need to touch on De Bromhead this week. Dracula charged with drug offence, but it wasn't him. It was nothing to do with him. No. It was a member of his staff that was using a gel that contained etofenomate basically banned substances that it was rubbing into a horse called Miss Tempo that pissed up at Tremor that day. And
that's surprising.
Yes, and this is a funny old thing. Bob Baffert used a gel on his Medina Spirit that got disqualified from the Kentucky Derby. I mean, what do you know what I find worrying? Charlie Appleby's been done. He had an horse disqualified for a banned substance, and it's amazing, isn't it? Because you could sensationalise this if the racing media wanted to, and the BHA wanted to, or the Irish Horse Racing Authority wanted to make a meal of this. They could plaster this all over. They'd only do that if it was a low trader, if it was a low ranked trader. They'd probably try and make an example of them to scare other people from using these banned substances. Because it's Henry de Bromhead and because it's Charlie Appleby, it seems to be fast tracked through, slap Danny's, £1,500 fine, naughty, we're disqualifying your horse, nothing more said. Same with Drac. Drac's come out and said it's member of staff, what can I do? Nothing to do with me. Basically,
I think the situation is crying out for the Barstewards to send our roving reporter over there. Who might just fancy Drac getting the gel out and giving her a rub down. Just to get the high end of this and see what's actually going on over there.
Absolutely, we need to get Fry involved. Yeah, she might need a box to talk to Drac, but yeah, we need to get Fry out there and find out what's going off, because this is not really cricket, is it? Yeah, there's lots of trainers out there that do the best, whatever, but they're not using substances that are banned. These are substances that are banned, and it's all right after event, but when everyone's land at bets and everyone's, that's not in the spirit of the game. Otherwise, we'd just allow a free-for-all, which would be like the Wild West, which it nearly is anyway.
In 1976, when the Frogs were doing it and winning everything.
Well, yeah, and recently, look at the French drug raids recently. That's police, heavy police. There's trainers that's retired. There's trainers that's it. There's horses being moved all over the place because of all these trainers, in France that have been drugging them. It's more rife than what people think. I'm sorry to go on about it, but it just is.
Creeping disclosure, isn't it? Every month there's a story of some sort which is sort of swept under the carpet. But, viewed in isolation, you could sort of shrug and go, well, a one-off event. But viewed collectively, there's a big problem. There is a massive problem. And it's inconceivable that trainers in the UK and Ireland aren't doing exactly what their counterparts in the States and France are doing. Inconceivable that there aren't people doing exactly that. They just haven't been caught yet. And it's incremental. Every month there's something similar.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's one of them, like athletics half the time. I just think, shall we just let everyone just use what they want? Because it's just trying to police it all and trying to catch up with the latest thing or the latest. Because, I mean, this answers Boxing Man's question, which he's been on, and he says, do we feel that there's any undervalued but very capable trainers out there that don't receive the quality of horses, given their sort of talents? I think the thing is, Boxing Man, it's whoever's got the best medication at the time that isn't breaking the rules, or is breaking the rules, but somehow they're getting past the rules, like the Sean Fishlake. He managed to develop a drug that beat the Americans. Like they couldn't detect it. That's why Dubai were buying it, all around the world were buying it, because the authorities couldn't detect, if you used it after a certain period, you couldn't detect that it was in the system. So it's the same thing with athletes for the implant. They will find an edge. It's a bit like why half the Liverpool team have declared themselves asthmatic. It's why Chris Froome declared himself as asthmatic, and why the other rider that won the Tour de France, asthmatic. Why? So they can have the steroid inhalers. To help the breathing, which opens their airwaves.
Edge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about getting that last minute edge that might, in horse racing terms, it might only be a length. It might only be, whatever. But that length is the difference between landing the guineas and third in the guineas. And that's what it's all built on, like stud fees, etc., etc. So that's where we're at. So Boxing Man, put it this way, watch for the little trainers like Kevin Philippart de Foy. George Bowie. Watch for trainers that suddenly just go on a massive upward curve. Milton Harris over jumps. Venetia this year over jumps. they've obviously got some lovely. And I'm not saying, like I said, it's just like stringers and drugs. I'm saying it could be medication to ease joint pain, back pain, some brilliant medication that they found. It's all about being ingenuity to beat the rules. And that's what makes them, because everyone can train in a way. Same thing, nuts and hay, good bedding, routines. Everyone can do that. It's all about the fine detail. And I think that's where your better trainers are, because they know how to work the system. That's where I'd leave it at that. Okay, I think we've sort of covered plenty there. Anything that you would like to add?
No.
No.
No. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Like I say, you've had everything today. Barstewards Exclusive, everything. I'm back with John and, I believe, Quentin and Neville on Friday to preview next weekend's action, which will be the Irish Guineas, etc., which means Nev will be tipping at Stratford's evening meeting. That's all from me, John. And Chris. We hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now.